Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, Your Call to Action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today on our series of Stories of Hope. My first guest is Sarah Cox. She's a mother of 3 living children and a daughter in heaven. She went through infertility and 3 pregnancy losses, including the 32-week stillbirth of her daughter, Jasmine. She now uses her loss experience to help other loss families. Sarah started the Journey for Jasmine blog and the Finding Hope After Loss podcast to help share stories and raise awareness for infertility and pregnancy loss. She also started Project Finding Your Rainbow, which is a traveling rainbow skirt. It travels from one lost family to the next, and the stories are all shared. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Sarah. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, what I'm so intrigued by. I want to go right away to Finding Your Rainbow, but let's start at the beginning of what it is that you're here to share, the story of hope that you're here to share and support our audience with.
Well, as you mentioned, I went through infertility due to I have PCOS, so I was diagnosed with that at a young age, so didn't have regular cycles, which obviously made it hard to get pregnant. So I dealt with that, and then also with the 3 pregnancy losses. I had 2 early losses, and then I had the 32-week stillbirth. And I didn't realize just how many people go through those things until I was going through them as well. So now, after going through it, my goal was just to help everybody else going through it to not ever feel like they're alone, because it's such an isolating and such a lonely experience.
Yes, absolutely. It's amazing what happens when we go through something like that, that really, uh, brings us to our core. And we don't realize how many other people are also suffering from that, right? And that is most likely why you wanted to start your passion project and also the keeping the legacy of Jasmine alive to help other people that are going through similar things, similar losses, to find hope again.
Yes, exactly. I think so many people think, how will I ever go on living after losing a baby, after losing, a child, no matter what the age, whether it's a miscarriage, a stillbirth, or, a child that after they were born, it's all still the loss of a baby. It doesn't matter how far along you were. And I
Right.
think, I get that question a lot is, does it ever get better? I'm like, it does get better, where not every day is like a horrible, I cry all day, every day for the rest of my life. But we have to learn how to live with that grief and mold our lives around it so that we can still move forward while also never forgetting our baby.
Right. And so, and that's mainly the message that you want to leave the audience with today is that don't give up hope when you are in the middle of grief.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
It's grief is something that affects every single one of us in some aspect in our lives. We can't run from grief. All of us have to deal with it. And I feel like society kind of puts this pressure on us that we can only grieve for a certain way or for a certain amount of time. And that's just not how it is. We all grieve differently. There's no right or wrong way, and there's no set length of time. We all just have to grieve in the way that feels right to us. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think that is. And, again, not to rush through the process, but to really fully be in the process of grief and let it naturally take its course. And also at the same time, as you're grieving and as you're moving through life, you will have your days of feeling good and feeling inspired and feeling, where you can attend to your daily life and the loves and your children. Uh, you will have those days, but then you will also, because grief comes in waves, right? It'll show up like a wave, and all of a sudden one day there's just a big pocket of grief.
Yes. There'll be days I think I'm okay, and then just something even random will just trigger it, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm all just, like, right back there again," and I thought I was doing okay, but that's just how grief works. It just hits you unexpectedly. You could be fine for weeks, months even, and then all of a sudden, it's like it just happened yesterday. There's no, it goes back and forth. There's no, like, you go through these stages and then it's just over.
So before we came on the show today, you said it's been 5 years since you have gone through this loss. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, 5 years this past March, actually.
And so have you had any other children since then?
Yes, so I had one, living child before her, and then I had my 3 losses, and then I've had 2 other daughters, after her. So one of them is my, rainbow baby, and then the other one, I think they call the pot of gold baby, so the one born after the rainbow baby with no losses in between the 2.
Wow. So that's what started the Rainbow Project.
Yes, I actually wore the rainbow skirt in my maternity pictures with my rainbow daughter. I wanted something special for that, and then I started sending it around to other families, and it's actually been to other countries. Even it's been to almost all 50 states. It's been to Canada, the UK, Australia, and Peru as were the other countries, and yeah, almost all the states. I think I'm just missing like 7 states right now.
Wow. So we should call those states out. We need to know what the
Right.
states are so those people from over there can join so that you have all the states.
Yeah, I know, it's Alaska, New Mexico, Maine, Vermont, Mississippi, and I think there was one more that I'm not remembering right now, but those are the main ones.
All right, people. So those of you that are in those states, it's time to join the rainbow skirt. Join that tribe. And
Yes, would love to have you.
right, yeah. How do they look you up on social media to find that, or your website?
So it's on my website, it's journeyforjasmine.com, and then also my Instagram and my Facebook are also Journey for Jasmine. I post a lot of the stories on they're all on the website, and they're also on social media as well. So I try to put a link to it in every post that I make as well.
So when you're sharing stories, what are you sharing stories from around the world from all the people that are joining you?
Yes. So they write their story in as short as long as they want, whatever it is that they want to share about their journey, and then I share their story. So they're the ones who write it. So they're all different. They're all different perspectives, different points of view. And then I had to shorten them a little for social media because some of them are kind of long. But yeah, it's been amazing, and a lot of the women say it's been incredibly healing to be
Right.
able to write and share.
Yeah, I think it's important, for our voice to be heard, our pain and our suffering and our grief to be heard by others, so that we can share that and we can be in our vulnerability. This is what's causing me so much pain. This is what's causing me so much grief. And at the same time, for the others, the tribe, then to come in and hold you in love.
Exactly, and I'm almost at 300 stories that I've published. So it's a growing community of people, and yeah, it's so many have also said it's just nice to feel like they're a part of such a group. It's
Yeah.
we always say that the lost community is the best club that none of us ever wanted to join.
Right, right. I mean, exactly. And at the same time, what it's doing, because all people have a need to belong.
Yes,
And now that loss that you've felt in your life, now you're belonging to a community of people that that understand.
Exactly.
That understand. Wow, that's beautiful. Now, let's share with the audience again one more time how they can find you on social media.
So my website is journeyforjasmine.com, and my Instagram, Facebook is also Journey for Jasmine. And then I have my podcast, which is Finding Hope After Loss, which also shares a lot of lost stories. And that is on Apple, Spotify, all the major platforms.
Nice. And now, on your podcast, do you bring some of the stories on there?
Some of the people have come, yes. So they've written for the project, and then they've came and shared their story on the podcast. I think
Yeah.
it's kind of cool to hear it both ways.
Yeah, I think it's really brilliant how you've honored your grief journey, how you are keeping Jasmine's legacy alive, and how, everyone is blessed because of how you've put it all together and how you're sharing it all and inspiring hope across the globe.
Thank
Well
you
done.
so much. That
Yeah,
means a lot to me.
yeah, that's beautiful how you did that. What would you like to say to the people that are listening?
I think just the number one thing is loss is one of the hardest things that you will go through. There's no denying that. But just know that there's a community out there who will support you and stand by you, and that you don't ever have to go through it alone.
That's an important message. Sarah Cox, thank you so much for coming on the show today. We're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show, everyone. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. My next guest is Andrew Freed. Andrew is here to help us with shifting our perspective and making a commitment to anything is possible if you want to create a life of freedom and financial stability and, being the designer and creator of your own life. So Andrew started off on the W-2 track as a project manager and ascended through the corporate ladder from company to company, always looking for the next higher paying job. After he read Rich Dad Poor Dad, he came to the realization that the rat race is a 30 to 40-year journey, which seems like an eternity. Why not take the leap and try for financial freedom in the next 10 years? Worst case, he could just go back to the workforce and then take the traditional retirement path to 65. After that epiphany, Andrew was determined to take action. He obtained a home line of credit on his one-bedroom condo in Boston, and he bought 8 deals over the course of 2.5 years, purchasing 4 triplexes, 1 5-bedroom unit, and 2 6 units in Worcester, Massachusetts, as well as joined 2 apartment building syndications as a limited partner. He currently self-manages a 30 rental unit and is a GP on an apartment syndication. He obtained a majority of his units through house hacking and accessing liquidity through lines of credit. He has a passion for teaching others about the power of real estate investing and financial literacy. His ultimate goal is to travel the world and help thousands and others achieve financial freedom through real estate investing. Welcome to the show today, Andrew.
I'm super grateful to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
So that's quite a story. That's quite a story of a life that you're living and have created. So you were in the rat race and you've done all kinds of wonderful things. And then you had the epiphany and you're like, yep, I can go the traditional route, retire at 65 and always look for the next higher paying job, or I can move beyond that. And you decided to move beyond that. So what made you choose the real estate investing option?
I simply chose real estate because it seemed like the easiest way to achieve my goals in regards to financial independence and financial freedom. About 90% of millionaires achieve their wealth through real estate, right? So it's just a proven track to build wealth, and it's been done by millions and millions and millions of people. So there's already a formula in place on how to do it. So it was very, honestly, in my opinion, it was very easy track to kind of get to my goals.
Yeah. So since that time, since you've made taken the leap. How many years has that been now?
So I started all this during COVID. So it's only been about 2.5 years since I've started this journey. And I would attribute a lot of my success to taking negativity out of my life, focusing on my environment, right? Like you're the average of the 5 people you associate yourself with. So if I associate myself with people with hundreds of units, I will eventually be there. Um, and just living a life of gratitude and positivity. Prior to that, I definitely ruminated. I was definitely in a negative state. I escaped from my reality a lot of time through video games, right? But once I realized, my intention and my purpose, life just kind of picked up for me. So it's been a real fun journey over the past 2.5 years.
So when you look at it from that place, that everything changed for the better for you since COVID.
Yes, I mean, yes, it has. I mean, unfortunately, there was death involved, but from a financial and a purpose driven standpoint, it has helped me a lot. Yes.
Yeah. So, because a lot of times, a lot of people, that didn't happen for them. And what you're saying is that this was your time. This was your time that you made positive choices, and that, yeah, you had to make some sacrifices, but you were willing to face those things. And real estate was, after reading the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and you were like, okay, yeah, this is the kind of lifestyle I want to create. We were talking in the break that you following your goals, people following their goals, that this is not a get rich scheme, like overnight success kind of thing, that this really involves commitment and consistency in your goals and where you want to be. And I mentioned the words long term goals. So what do you say to that?
I mean, you're absolutely right. To be successful, it's not going to happen overnight. You have to do daily, consistent action every single day. You have to have habits every single day. I mean, every single morning, I spend about 2 to 3 hours on personal development, on meditation, on working out, on reading, on journaling, right? And doing stuff like that over 2, 3 years, that has a compound effect. Like maybe in the first 6 months, I didn't see much of a result, but it builds up and it grows. And when you kind of take that perspective, like compound interest, that's the same way for building wealth. And you take that sort of perspective with everything in life, be it relationships, be it money, be it health, your life amplifies that much quicker. So I didn't know this at the time, but I was very much taking that compound interest approach with my daily habits. And that's really kind of got me to where I am today.
And I think this is an important piece because you mentioned the gold mine blueprint, what I like to call it, and that is the daily consistent meditation, journaling, personal self-development, exercise, fitness, your health, that you're putting those things first and foremost before you do anything else, because without that, um, it didn't work. And I think, would you agree to a lot of the people that are in the rat race, that they are there and they don't have those foundational principles built, and so they are in the rat race and they're doing that, and they don't have the time freedom for what's really really important.
That's absolutely right. It's all about intent at the end of the day. If you don't have a path, if you don't know where you're going, you're going to drift into nowhere, right? So it's very important to have a 5, 10 year intention of where you want to be. And then every single morning, realign where you want, what you need to do that day to get you to your goal, right? Because I mean, if you go off course by a quarter inch every single day, you're going to eventually go in a circle, right? So it's really important to realign on a daily basis of where you want to be, or you're just going to be wandering, and then a year's going to go by, and you're not going to even know what you did for that entire year, right? So it's really important to be focused and intentional on where you want to drive your life.
So I love how you start off your morning with the journaling. Very much believe in journaling. This is also what I do in my daily life and have for the last decade. Is I'm a daily journaler, and so that's an important practice. And then now, how much time do you actually spend working on your business? So if you, what time do you rise in the morning, get up and get all of your personal self-development in and all of that? And what time do you actually then focus on the goals?
That's a great question. So what I normally do is I wake up at 5 a.m. and then I do the miracle morning. There's actually a book on it where they call it, it's an acronym, SAVERS, uh, scribing, affirmations, visualization, E for exercise, R for reading, S for scribing. I do that every single morning from 5 to 9 a.m. And then from 9 a.m., that's where I really focus on my other jobs. I currently still have my W-2. I work from home, spend a couple hours there. Then I focus on my real estate business. Then at that point, maybe later in the evening, I'll focus on my real estate agent business. I work 3 jobs. I self-manage, I buy property, I have a W-2, and I'm an agent. So it's all about prioritizing kind of and time blocking on a daily basis.
That's really brilliant. That's really brilliant. Now, what do you want to say to the audience today that's listening to you? How do you want to inspire people to move forward? Like whatever you want to invite them to do, what is that next step?
So I'm sure, like everybody else here who hasn't achieved a certain level of successes, you feel like you're meant for something bigger, but you don't know what it is, right? And I've always had that feeling as well. And I really came face to face with that during COVID, where I could only procrastinate so much playing video games until kind of I had to face myself in the mirror and kind of see where I wanted my life to be, right? So if you do think you're meant for something bigger, if you do think you have dreams, like go after it. Don't just dream, take action on a daily basis. Remove the things that don't get you to your goals. Remove the Netflix, move the bad food habits, and just focus, have a laser focus on where you want to be. And a year, 2 years, 3 years, you'll be amazed on the person that you actually created that's far different than who you are back then, but somebody you're a lot more proud of.
I love that. I love that. That's a beautiful daily practice that people can do. Now, how can people find you and look you up on social media and look at, do you write posts or put content out?
I do put a lot of content out on real estate investing. I try to educate as many people on the topic as possible because it helped me achieve a certain level of financial freedom, and I would love for other people to share that same level of freedom as well. So I have Instagram at Investor Freed. You can follow me there. You can also follow me on LinkedIn and Facebook at Andrew Freed.
That's awesome. Well, Andrew, I salute you. Well done, you. Keep going and keep doing what you're doing because that is making the world a better place. Thank you so much because the more, resources that you have that you can support others to create the same. So that's a really beautiful gift that you're giving humanity. So we want to thank you for coming on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, everyone. My next guest, I'm so excited to introduce him. He is called the Money Doctor. His name is Ohan Kayikchyan, I think. I'm going to have him correct me here in a little bit. He's the doctor of economics and a certified financial planner, TM professional, with over 2 decades of financial industry experience. He's a money coach, educator, and the founder of OhanTheMoneyDoctor.com. Through his proven step-by-step process, Owen offers one-on-one coaching sessions for middle-class people to help invest and build wealth without overwhelm and stress. Ohan has been featured on Forbes, Yahoo Finance, US News, USA Today, Money Geek, CBS News, Insider, Go Banking Rates, and other publications. And now the Kornelia Stephanie Show. Welcome to the show, Ohan.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here, and I'm honored and blessed to be here with you.
Oh, it's so good. So how do I say your last name?
You said pretty much well. It's Kayikchyan.
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 Okay.
Yes.
Good. Good. I'm glad that I didn't butcher that too much.
So,
but you are the money doctor, OhanTheMoneyDoctor.com.
Yes.
So, I mean, nowadays, I can't think of anything more important than for people to have the money and the resources that they need in order to live their lives. So, I bet you deal with a lot of different people, and they have all kinds of different belief systems, whether they want to, whether they're working a regular job or they want to start a business. How is it that you support others, and what is your mission and your goal there?
Very, very good question. And the name Ohan the Money Doctor, the reason I choose that name, because I have PhD in economics, and in many cases they refer as doctor. So I like, oh, maybe it will stand out as a name to be reminded. But of course, everyone and anyone can call me Ohan, and I'm
Yeah.
totally fine with it. Title is just like next to my name, has nothing to do what we are in reality and what we are trying to make in this world. Being in financial industry for over 2 decades now, from inside I saw that it is created in a sense very complicated way when people try to manage their money by themselves, or even try to understand some documents they receive from bank or even brokerage firms, credit card companies. In many cases it is hard to understand. So my goal is to simplify finance. And how I do it through my English is my third language, and this is the all about hope. So I want our listeners to be very hopeful. If I was able to make it, you can make it as well. And now you are not alone. I'm willing to hold your hand to take you during your journey. My goal right now is to be independent. I'm not associated with any firm or any company, so I'm not selling any products. And as a certified financial planner, I do have fiduciary duty, which means to put my clients' interest above mine. So I more of a like give options for my clients. In many cases, I call them students as well, because I am an educator in a sense. I want them to make informed decisions. So I give them the options available to them so they can make informed decisions without having any benefit of selling them any type of product.
Right, right. I know, like when it comes to these kinds of things, especially nowadays, there's a lot of fear out there because you don't know who you can trust and who's going to have your best interest at heart. So, would you like to share with us today some of the stories that you have in your memory bank of people that you have supported and helped, and how that has changed their lives?
Cornelia, because the show is very short, so it will not be possible to tell all the stories. But the main thing comes right now to my mind that I started working with mindset, the wealth building, the investor mindset. And I'll explain what I mean. In our society, in our culture, United States, from everywhere on freeways, on our phones, we are bombarded with all this marketing information, and we get wired to buy and consume. But what I challenge my clients at the beginning to switch their consumer mindset to investor mindset. So if you are using, let's say, Apple phone, or you are using Facebook, or you do your shopping in Costco or Amazon, why you don't become part owner of these companies as well? So you are not only consuming from them. And just everything that we talked today, of course, is for educational and informational purposes only. But I'm not a big fan of picking and choosing stocks, because there was a big company in the United States called Sears. But if you look around, where are they now? In 2018, they filed for bankruptcy. So what I'm more of a fan of, instead of picking and choosing, why you don't own pieces of entire stock market, or at least top 500 companies in United States. So these are main questions, and people often ask me again the story like, oh, investing is for rich people. But I want to disappoint in a good sense to our listeners that no, it is not necessarily only for rich people. We are so thankful and in a better place living in United States that these investment markets are available to us. Nowadays, you can go to brokerage firms, and I don't have any association with any of them, but you can go to Fidelity, Vanguard, Charles Schwab, and just open your account. And you don't need to have like tons of money to be an investor. You can start even with $5. You don't need to start right away with lots of money, but that's important to get into this mindset of being an investor and do it yourself, because in many cases what consumers don't realize, they are paying these unnecessary high fees, and they do add up over time, versus if you can take your time, learn a little bit this, I call it in times foreign language. The money itself is a foreign language, and you learn this lingo and do it yourself, you will be able to manage your money on your own. And of course, if there are some situations, then you need to involve a professional. You just hire them for a particular task they need to do, not just like every year paying them 1% of the assets that you have, let's say. These are the conversations I want to have with our audience, and to give them the hope that we are able to manage our own money. The information is available, but of course we need to put it into practice and take an action. And I did get a system, and our listeners, if they of course wish and like, they can go to my webpage, ohanthemoneydoctor.com, and they can download the ultimate guide that I created to jumpstart their investing and building wealth.
I love that. I love shifting your mindset
From consumer to investor.
From consumer to investing. I just think that that's so brilliant. And I also loved how you laid out when you're going to Costco, you're shopping at Amazon, consuming from them rather than investing, patronizing environments that you are investor in, and how
That's
that,
absolutely right.
Right? Did I understand that right?
Absolutely. Do you understand? Absolutely right.
Yeah. And I really love that, because you are in relationship with that entity, and rather than, being a consumer with them, but already coming at it from a place of, I'm an investor here, and that you want to, grow a new relationship that also helps you build wealth, so that, that I think, again, we are not going back to being consumers, because we've lived that experience of where it has gotten us up until this time period of buying, 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 consuming, 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 hoarding, 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 storing, 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 and giving up our abilities as creators, that we are here to create and not consume.
And one quote, which I will paraphrase, comes in mind from Jack Bogle, who is the founder of Vanguard Company and one of the first people who make index funds available to our audience. And without going to too much details, what is the index fund? It's, imagine again, like 500 companies in the United States. One of the most common indexes is S&P 500. But he has this quote I want to paraphrase. So American corporations baking American pie 24/7. I want our listeners to take their fair share of that pie, because regardless what you are doing, you are working out, or you are working from 9 to 6, or you are sleeping at night, or you are having your lunch or dinner, your money must work for you 24/7. And regardless of what you are doing, if you are invested in Amazon or Apple or Starbucks, they are operating pretty much, some of them all around the world, and 24/7. So why you don't get your fair share of this corporate world that working for 24/7? And that's what I mean, switching your mindset from consumer to an investor. And when you go next time to Costco, you will feel that, oh, this company, I own part of this company as well. So it feels totally different.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think this is such an empowering shift that will really support us well as we are evolving forward. Because again, the whole time slavery, debt slavery system of the rat race that, many people are in, that is not sustainable anymore. And, how many jobs do you need to have in order to, you know, live your life? And it's certainly not a quality of life, it's certainly not sustainable, and it's certainly not a modeling that you're not looking at the person that's working three jobs and going, oh, I want to be like that.
And I want our listeners to be that one person who will be able to break that generational curse, how to say that they are working from 9 to 6, working hard for money, and make their money work for them even harder, and transfer this information to their loved ones, to their friends, family, their kids, and change the generations coming in. Because again, like, information is available, we just need to take it and put into an action. And I want our listeners to be that one person who takes an ownership.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want more than one person to take ownership.
Great.
So that is
Yes.
beautiful. And I love, how clear you're speaking and how you're helping us see the possibility of what's there, and that it really does take courage, but it's time to take ownership. So again,
Great.
give us your information, your website, your social media handles on how the courageous person that's going to be contacting you, how they can find you.
Okay, my name again on social media is Ohan the Money Doctor, and our listeners can find me on Instagram, on LinkedIn as Ohan Kayikchyan, my full name, or Ohan the Money Doctor. Also, I have a YouTube channel and Facebook, Twitter, Thread, and Twitter. Everywhere they can find me as Ohan the Money Doctor. And the easiest way, actually, they can go to my webpage, ohanthemoneydoctor.com, where they can download for free the ultimate guide that I created to jumpstart their investing and wealth building. And in the meantime, I want to thank you as well, Cornelia. There is this quote I read in the morning I wanted to share, that leaders are dealers for hope, and you are the leader, and the community that you created. I'm just amazed, and everyone who contacted me before the show as well to make all this happen, I want to thank everyone. And your compliment that I'm able to communicate clearly, that means a lot to me, as English being my third language. Thank you.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much. And it's my honor and my pleasure. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing the wisdom and the wealth of information that is going to support us into financial freedom. So we're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show, themoneydoctor.com. Go check it out. We'll be right back.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.